All right, thanks for tuning in. It means a lot to me. Hopefully, something I say here will be of help to you. This video is for those of you out there who are looking to buy knives made by K-Bar. I've got 4 different designs here, and I'll go ahead and tell you what's good about them and what maybe could be improved. I'm going to go ahead and start with kind of the most historically enriched or historically rich knife that I have here. And that is this Usmc K-Bar. These have a 7-inch Crowvan steel blade that is actually usually labeled as 1095 Crowvan high carbon steel. You can see it's got this bent hilt on it, stacked leather handle. The full tang runs all the way through. There is a butt cap down here, or excuse me, a pommel that is pinned on, and you can see that the tang does go all the way through, as I mentioned before. Now that tang is actually a little wider, except for at the end where you put the pommel on, and they drive the pin through there. The rest of it, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it or not, but there's going to be a little line on top of the hilt here, and a little line over here, and where you don't see that line anymore, that's the tang that goes through the handle. So it's not the thickest tang, but what I've found is that if you use these for what they were designed for, they actually hold up for a really long time. Usually when I see one of these and they start showing signs of wear and tear, this part here starts wiggling and the handle shrinks. These stacked leather washers over time do kind of shrink up a little bit every now and then. On the back you see it's also stamped K-Bar only in New York. And something to note is that when you stamp a blade, it does create little weaknesses in there. I have not seen one of these break where they're stamped. I have seen pictures of them breaking right there where the tang goes into the handle. But that's generally because of things like batoning and very, very hard chopping, stuff this thing was not designed for. These also do not have a sharpened swedge. I believe they used to. That is not the case anymore. Still a great knife. If you want something that's not, like 100% screaming Marine Corps at you, which I like the stuff that screams Marine Corps, you can get this dog's head version, and it's got a stamp of a dog's head with crossbones behind it. It has a different hilt, has a different pommel. You can see it's pinned there. By the way, that pin actually glares pretty bad in the sunlight, so I try to put black tape over it. Putting black tape over it actually works pretty well. Makes it a little more tactical. But as I was saying, this is a different shaped pommel. You can still see the tang going all the way through. If you want one with a synthetic handle, you can get the D2 one, but it's going to have serrations. If you like this setup with this particular hilt and this particular pommel, then you're going to have to go with the leather handles and this, the straight edge. Like I said, if you don't like the serrations, this is how you're going to have to do it. So both of these two come with a leather sheath that's made in Mexico. These leather sheaths are not bad. I put mink oil on mine. I do plan on getting a Kydex sheath for it. They are definitely less than optimal, and they do wear out. Okay, stay here real quick. Let me grab a synthetic one for you. Should be right here. See if I can find it real quick. Just had this thing out the other day. All right, sorry about that. So this one has a black leather sheath, and this one has a synthetic handle. This is the 1211. I find that this doesn't feel as good as the leather ones. For some reason, the leather ones just feel better for me, or to me. So it's up to you as to what you want. If you don't want kind of a standard K-Bar type design, as some people would consider these to be, you can move into the Beckers. This guy named Ethan Becker designs knives. I believe Camillus used to make them. Now K-Bar makes them. They come with like this ballistic nylon sheath. It'll get you by, but it's not perfect. As you can see, I went ahead and replaced the sheath for both of these. I'll start with mine. This is your BK2. Mine's modified. It's a 1/4 of an inch thick. The tang is kind of skeletonized inside, which I find to be less than optimal, but this is a very stout, very strong knife. As you can see, it's got kind of a pretty cool butt end there that you can pound somebody in the side of the head with or use to break stuff. This is one of my main survival knives, and that's why it looks like this. I use this thing a lot. I got a leather sheath for it, so I could have, I don't know, I just wanted a leather sheath. This was given to me by the bass player of Lynyrd Skynyrd. I met him when I was in 10th grade. He was working on a music project with the lead guitar player from Halloween. We knew that guy. You know, I grew up in the Detroit area of Michigan, so I got to meet a lot of cool musicians from around there. My parents were roadies for different 70s rock bands and stuff, and this originally was on a bolo tie. I figured it would look cool on here along with this kind of old school looking leather, and that's why I have a leather sheath. My preferred type of sheath actually is going to be something like that up there, and if you've watched my other videos, there's a review on that. It's from Armor Sheaths, so you can go to www.armorsheaths.com. He'll custom make you a sheath. They're worth every penny. That's my favorite Kydex company. This is the Becker Vk9. This is my son's. This one is 3/16 of an inch thick. It has custom Brazilian ironwood handle scales on it. And that's something that's cool about the Becker line is they all use the same handle scales for the most part. Unless you get kind of the smaller ones, like I think people call them like the tweeners or whatever. But a lot of the Beckers use the same handle scales, so you can get all these really cool custom handle scales for them, swap them out. You know, it's kind of a neat little hobby to have. But anyways, this is my son's. It's got a cool little lanyard on it with skull beads. And this thing actually chops really good. I chopped a tree down with this. It wasn't a huge tree, but it was a tree. Because it's 3/16 of an inch thick, you can actually do some finer tasks with it. This is actually it's a really cool knife, worth having. Some of these are going to be a little over $100, some of them a little under, some of them right around $100, just depending on where you go. You know, they do tend to be worth owning. I've never been disappointed in buying any of these. You know, basically there's one for your taste. Something else that I like to compare some of these to, because originally K-Bar was awarded kind of a government contract to make knives for the military. And mil-spec, some people argue over as to how good it is or how bad it is. I find that for the most part, if a knife is mil-spec, it's pretty good to go. It will get you by if you're smart. One of the mil-spec knives I have is this Marine Corps bayonet. And when I was in, actually, our machine gunners were issued an Ontario knife that looked kind of like this, but had black leather handle scales, or excuse me, black stacked leather handle. I believe it was called the Marine 498 combat knife. But anyways, this is current military issue. This is current Marine Corps issue. And it's not a bad knife, but the problem is it doesn't come as sharp as the K-Bar, okay? And I really do like this. I use it quite a bit. You can see I've been sharpening some pencils with it and stuff. Comes with a really cool sheath, okay? However, I find that the quality of these actually surpasses that of some of the Ontario knives. And there are people out there that will say you can get an Ontario knife sharper. It might stay sharper longer. But it doesn't come as sharp. And to me, having a knife out of the box that's got a really good grind angle on it, you know, a good edge angle, that is like hair popping sharp, hair shaving sharp, that says something. So, you know, this may not come with a great sheath right away, but you can get a good sheath for it. You can either get them from K-Bar for like $15 and they're like some kind of ballistic nylon, or you can spend a little more and get something a little more tailored towards your needs. But I generally find that when I buy a K-Bar, I'm always happy with it. So for those of you looking for something like this, I hope this information helps you out. And as always, thanks for watching. You know, feel free to hit the like button or subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment if you'd like. I hope you have a great day. Semper Fi, and God bless.